Are you thinking of making a real estate transaction this year? I've made this video series to help you avoid some of the biggest pitfalls in real estate transactions. I've done over 100 of them, and there has been some challenges on some and some unique situations on others. And I want to share and go through the steps and the best processes to follow to ensure that you don't have any difficulties and you have a smooth transaction. Because real estate transactions are some of the biggest transactions you will do in your entire life, and you want to make sure you have a professional teaching you how to guide you through that and make sure that you don't have any mistakes. So follow along, watch this entire series, and subscribe. So as I said, I've done over 100 transactions. I've been licensed for 7 years, and to give you an idea on the region that I'm in the Greater Toronto area, and I've done transactions all throughout Southern Ontario. So most of this information is coming from that geographic area. Most of the information here can be applied generally throughout all of Canada. So if you're watching this in BC or Alberta, some of it may apply to you. And in fact, I have helped some clients buy over in Alberta through pre-construction purchases. So we'll touch on pre-construction, we'll touch on condos, we'll touch on residential resale, freehold, and rural properties. So there's going to be quite a variety here, and I'll make the videos separate so that you don't have to watch all of it and find the information you want. I'll make videos on condos and rural properties, but this first section of series of videos here is going to be going through that beginning stages to make sure that you are actually ready to make a purchase. So with buying and selling real estate, it is scary for a lot of people, which is why I've decided to put this course together and walk you through that process. Now, whether you're a first-time home buyer or you're someone that has lived in a house for 10, 15, 20, 30 years, and you are now needing to sell in order to downsize or upgrade or go to a retirement home, it's a scary time. It's a scary time no matter what, making such big financial decisions and big leaps of faith. Should you sell first? Should you buy first? And the answer for that is different in every market and depending on what time of year and what the cycle is like in your specific area. So for those types of questions, my email is down below. You can always email me and ask those questions. But the high-level overview of some of the steps here are the pre-approval you're going to want to do in order to ensure that you can get a certain mortgage amount so you can figure out what your budget is, because there's no point in looking at $1 million homes when your budget is $850. It's not worth your time, and it's going to make you just really want and desire those more expensive homes, but you can't quite afford it, and it's just going to make the whole process a little bit disappointing for you. Step number 2 would be hiring a real estate agent. I'll walk you through what you want to look for in a real estate agent. Someone that has a servant attitude, someone that's looking out for your best interests, someone that is educating you, someone that is trustworthy and has performed many transactions so they know what they're doing and they're actually transacting. What you don't want to do is you don't want to hire an agent that has done 2 deals in their career, or they do 1 or 2 deals a year and they do it part-time. You want someone that does this full-time and has a good understanding and good knowledge base, as well as connections. In real estate, knowing other agents, knowing other realtors makes a world of difference in putting things together, putting deals together, and ensuring that that whole process goes smoothly. Now that next step is the home search. This is the fun part. This is where you narrow down your wants versus your needs, which we'll break down in that later video. But you start that home search process, you start to look at houses, going out in person, seeing what you like, what you don't like. I don't like this neighborhood, but I like that neighborhood better. What school zone do I want to be in? Narrowing down that house hunting process. Step 4 would be the offer process. Now in that offers video, I'm going to be breaking down a little bit more of the forms and sheets and conditions and all of that and how that process works. But the general overview of the offer process is when you submit an offer and it gets accepted, you need to provide a deposit within a certain amount of time. Typically that is 1 business day afterwards. So you're going to want to make sure you have the funds ready in your bank account. If you have an online bank account like Tangerine, Simply Financial, or some of those other ones where it's not easy to go in and get a bank draft and then deposit the bank draft, you're going to have an issue. You want to make sure those funds are somewhere easily accessible, like a big branch, big bank, which I know is frustrating because they charge such high fees, but you can have access to your money quickly and make those purchases. So that is one big issue that does come up quite often actually, is people not being able to pull that money out, have access to that money quickly, and it causes a delay, or sometimes they don't even get to purchase a property. Now, conditions. There is so many conditions. We're going to break down quite a few of the conditions later on, but generally you're going to want to have a home inspection, home insurance clause, which a lot of agents overlook that. But if you're buying a house that's over 100 years old, you want to make sure that you can get insurance for it and that it's affordable. The other one would be financing. You want to have a financing condition in there in case the bank needs to do an appraisal and get you basically that firm and final funding approval from the bank. It's nice to do that if you can. Now, there are cases in multiple offer situations where you may want to go in firm, purchase it without conditions, and there are some risks to that, which we're going to break down later. But those are the three main conditions that you always want to have. And then there's things like if you have a pool, you want a pool inspection. If you're in a rural property and you've got septic or well, you need septic and well inspections. If it's got aluminum wiring in the house. But in another video, again, we're going to break down different houses and different things to watch for on that side, like vermiculite insulation, aluminum wiring, Kitech plumbing. There are different things like that that were used in the building construction code back in the day that can pose future problems. So you want to be aware of those things, what type of houses they're in, what age of houses, and watch out for those and inspect for those items. Okay, now you've got a firm deal. Yes, we bought our first house or our second house or our final house, whatever it may be. You have bought a house. Now, congratulations, that's amazing. Now you've got a firm deal. Now what? Now what do we do? Oh no, we have to sell our house. We need to set up utilities. We got to set up internet. What is that process like? Yes, there's a lot that still goes on. You need to contact your lawyer. You need to make sure your mortgage broker or your bank has all your documents. If you've got a loan, you need to start setting up utilities. You need to set up insurance. You've got to change your mailing address, CRA account, make sure things are changed, your driver's license changed. There is so much stuff behind the scenes after a firm offer that you need to start the process of. And some of those things you actually do after the closing date. So there is a lot of stuff that's going on there. So definitely stay tuned for that video and subscribe if you have not already. So then from the closing day, you're going to get the keys, you're going to move on in, you're going to bring all your stuff to your place and start setting up. But that's the high level overview, and we're going to break down all those things a little bit more in depth so that you know what's going on. But here's some tips that I want to share with you even before we get into those other videos. So there's a lot of costs when you're purchasing a house. Some of the ones that get overlooked are the land transfer tax, the full deposit, the moving fees, utility setup costs. There's a wide range of different costs there. And if you want, I can send you a budgeting spreadsheet. Just email me down below and I will send you a budgeting spreadsheet so that you can have that for your information. And it'll help you break down a budget. If you have a house to sell, you can input your house, what you're going to sell it for, the commissions, the lawyer's costs, all those different things. Figure out how much money you have left. And then on the purchase side, it'll show you basically how much each different step costs. Rough idea. You can change some of those costs and then you can budget out different scenarios for your situation. If you sold at this price and you bought at this price, what's that going to look like? And that's something I can walk you through. So just email me down below and I'll get you that information. If you're interested in working with a true professional, contact me down below. If I can't serve you, I will connect you with someone on my team or one of my referral partners who is an absolute professional and make sure you are on the right track. Now, stay tuned for the rest of this series. The series of videos will be releasing soon. I'm working on putting them all together here for you, and I want to educate you so that you can make sure that your home buying process, whether you're a first-time home buyer, buying a second home, an investment property, or you're selling your house and buying that retirement forever home. I want to help you through that process, make sure you're educated, you know what's going on, so it's less stressful for you. And subscribe and stay tuned because episode 2 is going to be dropping very soon, and we're going to be talking about deposits and money and how much it all costs to make a move and all those different costs so that you don't miss out on anything. Thanks for watching. My name is David Nakkila. Have an awesome day.